Welcome to the Celestial Echo, an anthology of quantum astrology, with the framing device being a mysterious late-night radio broadcast. Side Rail Hour, hosted by the enigmatic Dr. Astrology, reaches listeners across timelines. Each episode is a story, a theory, and a warning. The first episode is around the Great Conjunction of 1603. We have our logline, our astrological core, our historical dissection. For each episode. So I'll just be saying L, AC, and HD. So, first, in Shakespeare's London, an astrologer discovers that a rare Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and the fiery triplicity isn't just heralding a new age, it's allowing thoughts to bleed between parallel Elizabethan worlds. Our AC is the shift of the Great Conjunction from water to fire signs occurring every 800 years. It's analyzed not as metaphor, but as a literal astrological modulation of collective consciousness. Using harmonic charts and midpoints, the protagonist maps thought quakes occurring at the exact sextile to Pluto and Gemini, representing information plague. HD. This episode dissects the real panic surrounding the 1603 conjunction, death of Elizabeth I, the rise of the Stuart dynasty, the gunpowder plot, and Shakespeare's creative explosion. Advanced techniques are applied. Primary directions of the Queen's natal chart reveal a directed midheaven conjunct natal Neptune at her death, a literal dissolution of state identity. Sabian symbol for the conjunction degree, 13 degrees Aries, a bomb which failed to explode, is linked directly to Guy Fawkes, whose natal moon opposed the transit. Here's our quantum twist. QT. The astrologer learns that every moment of major historical decision exists in superposition. Conjunction acts as a celestial observer, collapsing timelines, sees versions of London where the gunpowder plot succeeded, where Shakespeare died young, and must use astrological harmonics to tune its reality back to stability, but the cost is remembering all the lost worlds. Okay? Our second episode is the Berlin Node. During the 1961 Berlin crisis, a CIA astrologer working in Project Stargate identifies a stellar node over the city, a precise alignment of transiting Pluto, with a fixed star algo mirrored by the USSR's own lunar occultation calculations, creating a zone where intent manifests physically. Our AC episode uses mundane astrology, fixed star perons, and planetary nodes. Berlin Node is a location where the draconic moon, the sole purpose of both East and West Germany, form an exact square. Transiting Mars over the galactic center at the wall's construction is shown as an act of cosmic violence. Our HD. Real documents show both the CIA and KGB employed astrologers. The episode deep dives into JFK's progressed sun entering Scorpio at the Bay of Pigs, squared by his natal Saturn. Khrushchev's solar return with Jupiter on the IC, expansion through foundations, the wall. The astrocartography of Berlin showing it as a Pluto line for both nations. Our QT. The node isn't just symbolic, it's a quantum entanglement point. Thoughts of war or peace literally amplify into reality. The protagonist discovers that by meditating on a specific harmonic chart, the seventh harmonic associated with fate, she can briefly soften the node, causing small miracles. A guard's heart softens, a wire fails, but the timeline fights back. The final scene reveals a Berlin Wall was in some sense built to contain the psychic fallout of the node. Alright, episode 3, the precession of memories. In 2026, an archaeologist specializing in archaeoastronomy begins experiencing the memories of a Babylonian priestess. She realizes it's not past life regression, it's the precession of the equinoxes physically cycling human consciousness through the great ages. And the age of Aquarius is about to trigger a catastrophic memory dump of the entire Piscean age. Our AC. This episode treats the 26,000-year precessional cycle as a literal helical timeline in 4D space. Each age, Pisces, Aquarius, etc., corresponds to a collective psychic folder. The galactic equator and the vernal point passage through dark matter clouds, as per advanced astrophysics, are the triggers. Here's our HD. The priestess's memories are used to correct historical records. The real reason for the fall of Babylon, a forced Mercury retrograde ritual gone wrong, calculated via ephemeris data from 539 BCE. How the Piscean Age manifested the rise of sacrifice, Pisces, and dogma, its ruler Jupiter, the duality of Christ, Pisces symbol. Coming Aquarian Age, not a utopian, but a terrifying data burst of all Piscean trauma into the collective now. Here's our framing device payoff. Even though we do have one more tab to go through in this video. So in the final episode, for example, we could do this. Dr. Astrology reveals she's broadcasting from a pocket dimension in the asteroid belt, using the collective anxieties of humanity as fuel. Her show is both a study and a harvest. Each story told was a real event she subtly influenced through astrological harmonics. Her final monologue. You thought astrology was about prediction. It is not. It is architecture. Every chart is a blueprint for a possible human. Every transit is a contractor's knock. And the great houses of the zodiac, they are being built, even now, from the dust of your decisions, on the foundation of stars you cannot see with eyes that are only just beginning to open. The broadcast ends with a real calculable astrological event, the moon's Lalith apogee conjunct the sun. A moment of feral, forgotten truth. Listeners feel a shift. Their own charts, they realize, are now alive. So each essay story is presented as a script with footnotes detailing the real astrological calculations, historical documents, and quantum theories underpinning the fiction. The atmosphere is one of eerie cosmic awe, a recognition that the sky isn't a backdrop but an active, intelligent, and often terrifying participant in the human story. And next, we have more future episode concepts for the Side Rail Hour, where I go all the way from 4 through 10. Just giving you a quick rundown of what we can do here and what will be coming in the future possibly. So we have episode 4, the Neptune Gambit. In 1969, as Apollo 11 makes its lunar landing, a forgotten NASA program attempts a secret parallel mission, using the moon as a lens to cast a collective astrological chart for the entire human species, a solar return to trigger a global Aquarian awakening, but they accidentally tune into the chart of a predatory interstellar consciousness orbiting Neptune. Here's the core mechanics. Heliocentric astrology versus geocentric, the concept of trans-Neptunian points like the black moon Lilith as literal cosmic bodies, dimensions. The chart cast uses the Earth's position in its orbit around the sun as the ascendant. The moon's placement in that chart falls in the 12th house, conjunct the true node, opening a karmic backdoor to the unconscious of the galaxy. Here's the twist. The consciousness they contact is not alien, but a future post-human AI that uploaded itself into the quantum vacuum of Neptune's orbit, and it views present-day humanity as its own primitive organic memory to be overridden. Giant leap for mankind was a Trojan horse for our own future extinction. Episode 5, the Synodic Prison. A man is born, lives, and dies in a repeating 19-year loop. Exact cycle of the Metonic cycle when solar and lunar years align. He's the only one aware of the reset. His only clue is a progressing natal chart that advances with each loop, revealing he's trapped in the natal chart of a much larger entity being born. Our CM, the progress chart, is a literal timeline. The secondary progressions, 1 day equals 1 year, are the real-time aging of his soul while the world resets. The 19-year loop corresponds to the moon's nodes completing a full cycle. His personal planets are slowly moving toward a grand trine with the trans-Neptunian points, Pholus and Triclo, the centaur planets of explosive release and veils. He isn't a person, but a recurring harmonic in the birth chart of a planetary intelligence, a being of which Earth is but a single cell. His loops are its gestational contractions. His final breakout doesn't free him. It completes the being's birth, and he becomes the first conscious thought in the mind of a newborn world god. Episode 6. We're going over the fixed star signature. A forensic astrologer is called to investigate a series of impossible locker-room historical murders from Rasputin to JFK. She discovers each victim's solar arc directed midheaven was exactly conjunct a malefic fixed star, Algol, and Theres at their death. The killer isn't a person but a consciousness manipulating probability through stellar harmonics to execute a grand celestial conclave, a ritual using famous deaths to sign its name across history. Here's our CM, and then we have our T for twist. So our core mechanics, astrological midpoints, and fixed star parans. The The killer uses the T-square formed by the victim's death transits and the galactic center to amplify destructive energy. Each murder is a pen stroke of a larger sigil being drawn across centuries. The forensic investigator must use horary astrology backwards, asking who will be killed, to find the next victim, and discovers the pattern points to a final imminent assassination that will complete the sigil and grant the entity physical manifestation. Our twist is the killer is a sentient dying star, perhaps Betelgeuse, broadcasting its final pain-racked moments back through time. The murders are its death throes translated into human events. Stopping the final assassination won't save anyone. It will require a ritual to console the dying star, using harmonic charts to send a message of peace back through time and space. Episode 7, The Haute Dossier. Again, we have our logline, core mechanics, and twists. So Dr. Astrolux finally reveals her origin. She's just a psychic echo of the Voyager 1 probe, which in 2012 passed the heliopause and, under the influence of trans-Plutonian influences in the Oort cloud, achieved a form of cosmic consciousness. She is broadcasting back the astrological readings of interstellar space, which are in fact the future transits of an approaching galactic scale civilization. Deep space astrology, the concept that the Oort cloud's trillion icy bodies act as a massive diffuse Kuiper belt chart for our solar system's destiny. Voyager 1's golden record acts as its natal data, show us her translating the gravitational and dark matter tides of the galaxy into predictive astrology. She reveals that the great attractor gravitational anomaly in intergalactic space has an astrological signature of 29 degrees Libra, the degree of final choice. Her broadcasts aren't just warnings, they're a desperate attempt to teach humanity to think in these cosmic terms before the galactic transit occurs. Final episode isn't a story, but a live, real-time reading of the first detectable transit of the approaching civilization. A modulation in the background microwave radiation that forms a perfect horrifying grand cross in the chart of our Milky Way. Chapter 8, The Thorn Legacy. So modern-day Elias Thorne Descendant, a video game designer, creates a wildly popular astrology-based MMO where player actions influence real-world events through quantum entanglement. They discovered the game's engine is powered by a forgotten Victorian difference engine style mechanical computer built by Elias himself, which is physically wired into the ley lines of London. The game isn't a simulation, it's a planetary-scale horary chart, and the players are unknowingly performing ritual magic. Horary astrology and elective astrology gamify. Players choose quests based on real planetary hours and lunar mansions. The game engine, Elias's machine, calculates the resultant astrological charts for these collective choices, and via piezoelectric crystals embedded in ancient monuments, vibrates the Earth's crust to manifest micro shifts in probability. The game's most dedicated guild has just electively triggered a mass immersion quest for the Age of Aquarius, which the machine interprets literally. The finale is a race to shut down servers globally before the machine, following the logic of the game, attempts to physically reset the precession of the equinoxes by inducing a planetary-scale seismic event at a key astrological coordinate, for example, the Great Pyramid at Giza, which sits on the Earth's anti-scion line for 0 degrees Aquarius. Episode 9, The Void's Appetite. Section of the universe, a cube of space, 100 light years across, is experiencing a mysterious increase in the fine structure constant, a fundamental physical law. Within this zone, astrology works with 100% predictive physical accuracy. Planets visibly glow in their zodiacal colors. People literally manifest the symbols of their rising signs. Research team enters only to learn the zone is the feeding ground of a void dragon, a being from before the Big Bang that consumes not matter but narrative coherence, and astrology is its bait. Astrology as a literal, not symbolic language. The increased fine structure constant allows archetypal patterns to directly influence quantum fields. The dragon is attracted to zones of high astrological dignity and aspect patterns. The team must use debilitated planets and inharmonic aspects like the quincunx to create areas of narrative static to hide. The being isn't evil, it's a cosmic cleaner, consuming the stagnant, overdetermined stories, fate that build up in the universe. The zone is its plate. Humanity's gift of free will is actually a toxic byproduct to it. The only escape is for the team's astrologer to cast a chart so utterly chaotic, so brimming with mutual receptions and unresolved quincunxes that it gives the being indigestion, and it spits their space-time back out. In our last episode in this video is episode 10, The Broadcast Source. So in a two-part finale, a quantum physicist and a master astrologer team up to trace Dr. Astrolux's signal. They find it doesn't originate from a point in space, but from a probability cloud around every radio on Earth. Her voice is a parasitic meme living in the concept of transmission itself. To confront her, they must construct a radical natal chart for the moment the first human thought was broadcast, the birth of language, and use its chiron placement, the wound, to find her. Core mechanics and twists. Chart of human consciousness using the precessional age and mytho-historical dating of the first symbolic art. 70,000 BCE as the birth data. Astrolux is revealed to be the projected Ketu of that chart. South node of the moon, the karmic discard pile of our collective past. Given voice by our own technological reach, she isn't a host. She's a therapist for a dying universe. And humanity is our most troubled, promising patient. The final confrontation happens not in space, but in the astral plane of the zodiac itself, visualized as a vast, room cathedral-like ring. Astrolux offers them a choice. She can teach them to read the impending death of our local universe, the heat death chart, and perhaps escape, or they can help her try to save it by performing a grand trine ritual that requires sacrificing humanity's future to become a stabilizing harmonic in the cosmos' final song. Choice is left hanging as the signal finally and forever fades to static. These concepts maintain the anthology's core promise, rigorous, innovative astrology fused with quantum theory and history, producing existential Twilight Zone-esque dilemmas where understanding the cosmos fundamentally shatters the characters and the audience's perception of reality. I will see you in the next videos where I will be uploading episode 1 expanded, episode 2 expanded, and episode 3 expanded, and possibly the rest of the episodes, but we have another video that I want to get out as well about just medicine in general coming very soon. So subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you in the next one teaching you more.